In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
All right, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome to
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Wow. Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get started again.
The Conservative Commandos radio show is expanding to become the Conservative Commandos Radio Network. We're establishing a front line of conservative radio broadcasters and ironclad patriots to declare war against the madness of liberalism and the Obama administration. Are you tired as I am about the disregard for our Constitution? Do you still have faith in the American dream? Are you looking for sensible, smart radio? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network every weekday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on WNJC Radio 1360 a.m. or around the world on the internet at WNJCradio.com. Check out our websites, conservativecommandosradionetwork.com and ccrn.com for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where even more newsmakers go to be heard. From the East Coast to the West Coast and around the world on the internet. We're coming to you live from the CCRS studios. WNJC 1360. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with your host, Rick Trader. The Conservative Commandos radio show, where the newsmakers go to be heard. You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360. 1-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
You are listening to the Conservative Commando's Radio Network. It is Friday, August 7 in the year of our Lord 2015. I know you're used to hearing my voice on Mondays when I co-host with the great Sharon Angle of Nevada, but I'm filling in today, and I have the great pleasure to work with a very dear friend, Ken McClinton. Kenton, how are you? Ken, how are you today?
I'm doing extremely well, and you know I am just always excited when we get a chance to co-host together. And I really miss throwing you out up in Delaware.
Well, I'll tell you, when I get to spend time with you, either on the microphone or breaking bread over a good meal, it's always a learning experience for me, and I always come out of it better off than when I went in.
Likewise. I really enjoy being on the air with you and all the great people of the city of Philadelphia, our Renaissance city, as well as the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, the great people watching in California, and all those around the world.
We have an ever-expanding audience, and I want to say a special hi to those in the audience who follow us closely and care so much for our well-being. Thank you for being with us. A lot of news to share. I'm going to be, with your permission, talking about my reflections on the great debate last night. I'll do that after we come back from our first break about 3:17. But we have a great lineup of guests that our audience should hang around for. Would you run through the lineup for us?
Oh, I'd love to. Today is extremely audacious, as we will have with us Christopher Casey, who's the managing director at Windrock Wealth Management. He will be joining us at 3:35. And, of course, we will be talking about the fudged labor numbers, as well as the risk of interest rates causing the stock market to fall this afternoon. And we want to get into great detail about can investors skip the bus without boycotting the boom. So that's at 3:35. At 4:05, we are going to be graced by Harvard-educated Joseph Klein, who is a great blogger, great writer, great analyst. And he's going to be talking about how Obama defends the Iran deal with falsehoods and slurs. And we really look forward to that attorney being with us. And at 4:35, once again, Dr. Gerard Lamero joins us. And in regard to what you'll be commentating on in a few moments, he'll be talking about the 10 questions that we should be asking ourselves after the Republican presidential debate. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, I'll be looking forward to that as well. I think that the quality of the questions last night was remarkable. No one got a free pass. No one got a free pass last night. They brought the heat, so to speak, the moderators.
You know, and I watched the eyes of Debbie Wasserman Short, the congresswoman from Florida, and she just seemed awed by the fact that those questions would be asked, preparing the Republicans for the onslaught of the Democrats. Those questions were well prepared, well engineered, and it showed the faith of how temperate an individual has to be if they're going to run for office.
There's no second chance to get it right the first time in the Oval Office. We've seen that for years now, and we have historic challenges ahead of us as a nation and as a people. So I do want to see whether or not our candidates get that deer in the headlights, deer in the headlights look, or whether they can keep their balance and come back with a coherent, sensible answer that reflects not only an understanding of the question and the problem, but also gives some reflection of who they really are as a person.
Exactly. And, you know, Kevin, I don't know if you've ever gone to a boxing match, and the premier boxing match is more boring than the undercard. And last night, tete-a-tete on the main stage were wonderful. But Carly Fiorina put on a exercise and the ability to debate and speak on multiple topics. She rolled like no one else on last night's debate, the JV and otherwise.
Well, Ken, as someone like yourself who is somewhat in the word business, I'm stunned at her ability never to waste a single syllable. Every word she utters fits into the one that came before and the one that comes after, and she is absolutely always on point.
Always. It's amazing to watch her. Her ability to take a pot shot at both Bill Clinton, Hillary, well, actually three, Bill and Hillary Clinton, and Donald Trump in the same answer was just awing. She put on a profound exhibition yesterday, and it befuddles the mind how Senator Rand Paul made it on the main stage, and she didn't. She held her own against the very best, and I was very proud of her.
Yeah, and she was on the stage there in the early show with accomplished figures, with accomplished figures, and she didn't just hold her own; she dominated. And and I expect that she'll be sitting at the big people's table come the next debate next month. And I'm at a loss to tell you where it is and when it's going to be held, but I understand there's going to be another debate, actually debates every month going out from now.
And a lot of people say we have too many of these debates. I don't think you can. You need to practice. And what better way than being able to publicly debate and display your philosophical largesse? And I just watching from Scott Walker to the JV side, where Perry and Jindal as governors are battling against Senator Lindsey Graham, and looking at the main stage last night with Dr. Ben Carson and his eloquence, it was just a brilliant display of how deep the bench is for the Republican Party.
And one of the untold stories of this campaign season, leading into 2016, is how empty the Democrat bench is.
They only have a Sandy Koufax, and it's the late inning, the late term or career Sandy Koufax and Hillary Clinton. There is nothing else on that bench. There are no warmers either. They don't even have a JV team, which is completely amazing. So if anything happens to Hillary at this point regarding Benghazi and the inspection of those emails, and there is criminal concern, who are we going to run against?
Well, I'll tell you this about Bernie Sanders. He's the only one on that side who is at least honest enough to say, I'm a socialist.
I love Debbie Wasserman Schultz when she was questioned about what's the difference between a Democrat and a socialist, and she had deer eyes. The lights in her eyes were just blinding her. She had no answer. There is no difference between socialist, Marxist, communist, and the Democrat Party of the day.
Well, but I will answer your unasked question about why there's no bench on the Democrat side. There's no one, there's no JV team for someone to step up from. And that is, Ken, and this is for the audience as well, the reason they don't have a bench is because it's not so easy to train people to lie on command as their present leadership does.
Exactly. And the sad thing is that America just might be waking up to the Democrats and saying, you know what, all of this partying, and we've done it all in college, all of this partying, and then you wake up on Monday and you're not ready for the exam of life. And I think that's where America is right now. They awakened from the party of the Democrats, realized that we've fallen behind with a $19 trillion deficit, a $4 trillion debt, national debt, and a $4 trillion deficit. Literally, we are on a shoestring budget financially as a nation, and we are spending like we're driving a Lexus. it's time. It's just people waking up and saying, hey, there has to be a better way. And it's a great thing that we have a JV team on the Republican side.
I'll tell you, whoever turns out to be our candidate, I'm virtually certain that the only candidate I truly object to won't be. So I imagine that among the other 17, there will be 16 that I will be delighted to give my support to. And they have a ready-made cabinet. They have a ready-made cabinet. They have people with business experience, healthcare experience, executive experience, management experience. It's a good time to be a conservative Republican, but we have to keep the team together. We're going into a hard break right now. We're coming to you live from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios, WNJC 1360 AM, our flagship station in Philadelphia, and around the world on the internet with CPRWorldwideMedia.com, Leading Edge Radio Network, TalkStream Live, The Pundit Press, SHR Media, K98 Talk, and AM/FM 24/7. They all end in .com. And you can listen to this show anytime from our websites, ccrsnetwork.com and ccrshow.com. I'm Kevin Wade. I'm with Ken McClinton. We're going to give you a heck of a show this afternoon. You stay with us. We will be right back.
I really don't care. That's my prerogative. They say I'm nasty, but I...
This is Rick Trader, host of the Conservative Commandos radio show.
And I'm John Forsyth, owner of WNJC Radio. Fellow patriots, the Conservative Commandos radio show is for conservatives, about conservatives, and by conservatives.
We are patriots who want to take our country back from the likes of Barack Obama, Harry Reid, George Soros, and Nancy Pelosi.
But we can't keep up this fight without your critical support today. Can you help? Please go to www.helpc.com right now and make a donation by credit card or PayPal. That's www.helpccrs.com.
Our goal is to expose the liberal agenda and distortions. We are fighting to spread the truth about political issues, political leaders, and conservative issues and values.
Our hosts are not paid. In fact, we buy our own airtime, studio time, and pay our own expenses.
We created the show because we are trying to make a difference. So can you help the CCRS expose the truth in 2014 and beyond? Go to www.helpccrs.com.
Help keep the Conservative Commandos radio show on the air by going to www.helpccrs.com and make a donation today to return our country to the conservative roots created by our founding fathers.
Need funding for your current business or startup? We have the investors, and our investors follow our business plan. Have you been looking for funding that banks won't offer? We can help. Using a little-known federal program, we can provide a legal platform connecting you with accredited investors for your funding needs. According to Forbes magazine, this program has already funded in financing over $1.3 trillion. That's $1 trillion. Up to 100% financing. Interest rates and terms you set rather than a bank. No prepayment penalties, no tax returns, all credit considered. Please visit our website at www.fundingforsmallbusiness.info. Call us toll free, 844-409-1489. Once again, that's www.fundingforsmallbusiness.info. Phone 844-409-1489.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. Stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Viden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando radio show.
You are listening to the Conservative Commandos radio network. If you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of today's show, please check out our website, CCRS Network and CCRshow.com. For mornings at 9 a.m., log on to Leading Edge Radio Network. And you can listen to the Conservative Commandos radio show at any time, any day, from any telephone on the planet by calling 832-999-1199. Some toll charges just might apply. You check with your service provider. Ken, I'll tell you, events are happening left and right. Have you seen any topical and interesting headlines on Drudge lately?
Well, most certainly. And while everyone is attentioned by those matters in Cleveland, there are some matters overseas that we should be concerned with, one of which is the Islamic State, as reported in the Wall Street Journal this morning, actually strongholding and taking hostage Christians in the Homs province. And in fact, Syrian Orthodox community leaders said on Friday that it was the town of Karayantin, was seized, and many of their congregants were snatched by the Islamic State. Their whereabouts unknown, of course, but certainly this is again a sign in the Middle East of the intolerance of the ISIS or ISIL, however way you wish to say it, but we all know them as terrorists, and with a profound propensity to maim, rape, and destroy the property of Christians, almost to the point of eliminating that block of groups, that block of believers in the Middle East itself.
And still in the White House, we have a president who will not utter the words Islamic terrorist. He simply cannot see what 7 billion people around the world are understanding as we speak. And you can't solve a problem if you can't identify it and can't name it. Looking just quickly, I'll save our listeners the time needed to go to drudgereport.com. Roger Ailes, who heads up the Fox News channel, may have had the highest non-sports cable telecast of all time last night. 24 million people tuned in to watch the Republican primary debate. The previous high, I believe, is around 5 million. He didn't just exceed the previous record, he completely shattered it. So let me, Ken, if with your permission, I'd like to offer up a commentary that I call the Great Debate because it reflects on what we saw last night.
Well, go right ahead.
Last night, I and 24 other Americans saw a presidential primary debate. Fox News placed their A-team in Cleveland as debate hosts and moderators. The A-team brought their A-game. In my opinion, it was the sharpest, fastest-paced, and most challenging debate I've ever seen. There were no flat spots, there were no predictable moments, and there were no easy questions for any candidate. The fast-paced and the rapid-fire challenges allowed no candidate to play rope-a-dope or wait for your pitch or play for field position. The social media came alive with comments from grassroots conservatives. Many raged at the unfair questions thrown at their respective favorite son. Those ideas and those reactions are simply wrong. Our country is in crisis, and the challenges to the next president, hopefully a conservative Republican president, are historic. Now is not the time to provide a featherbed to aspiring to lead our nation out of this dark and dangerous time. Let's hear the toughest questions. Let's see how each candidate reacts under the unrelenting pressure of those questions in a live broadcast to millions of voters. There are no retakes. There is no spin, because in the Oval Office there is no second chance to get it right the first time. So the candidate's mettle was tested before the largest audience ever to watch a primary debate. What did I learn? I learned we have an incredibly strong collection of outstanding future presidents. Each candidate has his moments. When I include Carly Fiorina from the early show, I'll say each candidate had his or her great moments. Rubio was inspirational and showed why he is considered the face of the party's future. Huckabee demonstrated everlasting moral convictions, commanding decisiveness in seeing the dangers to our nation, and real good-natured humor. Christie's energy showed how he was able to get things turned in New Jersey without the cooperation of a Republican legislature as found in Austin or Baton Rouge. Further, the confrontation between Christie and Rand Paul encapsulated the entire conundrum about the balance between the sanctity of our safety and the sanctity of our liberties. Scott Walker showed himself to be the everyday man candidate with a heroic track record, beating the liberal progressive beast in blue, Wisconsin. John Kasich played well in front of the home crowd in Cleveland. He, too, has a story to tell of executive results. Dr. Ben Carson, the brain surgeon without any political experience, was remarkable as he stood with 9 other remarkable men, most of whom are seasoned by decades of political life. He showed every inch of his innate compassion, quiet intellect, and in the end, good humor when he referenced Washington as a place where our leaders have only half a brain. Ted Cruz of Texas stood out with his strong and focused testimony to his conservative principles. He speaks directly to the concerns of all of us when he points to the political elites who deceive the voters, those elites in both parties who say one thing at home and do quite the other in Washington. Finally, we come to Jeb Bush, former governor of Florida, and Donald Trump. Jeb made a good presentation for himself and his past accomplishments. His supporters were not disappointed. Yet on the issues of this election for the Republican faithful, Common Core, chaos in the Mideast, the broken and ever more dangerous border, the lack of blue-collar jobs, he seems to me to be out of date. His message is a good message, but not for these times. America is in a fight for her survival. America needs a fighter. Jeb Bush is not that person. Donald Trump is the man who knows how to fight and win. We are in a fight and we must win. Donald has these qualities. Does anybody doubt this? Yet Donald needs to understand who is the enemy. And it was not the other candidates on the stage. And it was not any of the moderators. You can't lead in combat if you shirk at the sound of gunfire. You can't fight fires if you turn away at the smell of smoke. You can't lead this nation, Mr. Trump, if you lash out at tough criticism based on the factual record. Donald Trump had the most to win last night, and he failed to make the most of the moment because he failed to prepare for the moment. If you love this nation and feel compelled to lead in this time of crisis, then you need to put America first and put your ego last. The debate last night was exactly what the nation and the GOP needed. There will be more coming. No candidate lost. America won. The season is young. May the best man or women win. I'm Kevin Wade, and that's the way I see it. And we are going into a break. We're coming to you live from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, WNJC 1360 AM, our flagship station in Philadelphia and around the world on the Internet with CPR Worldwide Media, Leading Edge Radio Network, TalkStream Live, The Funded Press, SHR Media, K98 Talk, and AM, FM 24/7, allendon.com. And you can listen to our show anytime on our website, CCRS Network and CCR Show. You stay with us. I'm Kevin Wade. Ken McClellan is up with his first guest in just about 3 minutes. We'll be right back.
They say I'm crazy. I really don't care. That's my prerogative. They say I'm nasty, but
You've heard Paul Deltz playing the music music on the Your Music Matters morning show. He is also an experienced mortgage loan officer working for U.S. Mortgage Corporation and assists homeowners navigate the reverse mortgage process. If you're finding yourself asking questions whether or not you set aside enough for retirement, Paul can sit down with you, your family, and your financial advisor and discuss how a reverse mortgage may be a valuable resource for your retirement plan. You will be responsible for paying your taxes and insurance, and the reverse mortgage can help with this and other expenses, such as home health care or other untimely bills. Put Paul's 20-plus years of experience to work for you, as choosing the right option for your situation can be critical. Call Paul at U.S. Mortgage Corporation at 877-213-9977. That's 877-213-9977. Or go to seniormatters.info for more information. U.S. Mortgage Corporation is a licensed mortgage banker in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, and an equal housing lender. NMLS number 3901. U.S. Mortgage Corporation is located at 201 Old Country Road, Suite 140, Melville, New York, 11747. This advertisement applies to first lien mortgages. Paul E. Dilks, NMLS is 485904.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Biden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
What does it take to be the leader in production systems technology? To be the one company that solves production problems at any plant, for any product, and with any technology? It takes a 30-year record of success. It takes total mastery of complex technologies with a history of delivering success every time, without fail. Only one company can claim that high ground in manufacturing line optimization, data automation, and systems integration, and that's Philadelphia Control Systems. In factories worldwide, Philadelphia Control Systems programs, software, and engineering solutions deliver optimal performance and output flow with a record that can't be matched. Any plant, any product, any technology. Philadelphia Control, leader in production automation since 1982. 800-335-9811. PCS4automation.com. That's PCS, the number 4, automation.com.
The Conservative Commandos radio show is expanding to become the Conservative Commandos radio network. We're establishing a front line of conservative radio broadcasters and ironclad patriots to declare war against the madness of liberalism and the Obama administration. Are you tired, as I am, about the disregard for our Constitution? Do you still have faith in the American dream? Are you looking for sensible, smart radio? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos radio network every weekday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on WNJC Radio 1360 a.m. or around the world on the internet at WNJCradio.com. Check out our websites, ConservativeCommandosRadioNetwork.com and CCRN.com for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where even more newsmakers go to be heard. From the East Coast to the West Coast and around the world on the internet, we're coming to you live from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with your host, Rick Trader. The Conservative Commandos radio show, where the newsmakers go to be heard. You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando radio show.
That was Colonel Alan West, and this is now the Conservative Commandos Radio Network. If you'd like to hear a rebroadcast, please check out our website, CCRS Network, and ccrshow.com, or mornings at 9 a.m. That's not 8:58. That's not 8:59. Don't jump the gun. At 9 a.m., log on to leadingedgeradionetwork.com, and you can listen to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network at any time, any day, from any phone on the planet by calling 832-999-1109. Just saw a thing flash up on Drudge. That's in our newsroom here, Ken, and it appears that that debate may have been the highest non-sport cable telecast of all time. That's astounding. Ken, I believe that our first guest is on the line. Would you please have the honor of making his introduction and leading this interview?
It is an extreme honor to introduce a good friend of ours and a wise man when it comes to the field of finance. Chris has served as a trusted advisor in diverse ranges of business owners, advising them on financial issues impacting their companies and their personal wealth. He combines a degree in economics from the University of Illinois with a specialty in Austrian School of Economics. Chris Casey, the managing director of Windrock Wealth Management, joins us today. Chris, it's a great honor to have you with us.
Ken, good to hear from you again. And Rick, thanks for having me on.
Listen, I know on Friday afternoons there's nothing that financiers are worried about or managing directors in terms of portfolios. And you basically are calling it in to go golfing, right?
No golf for me, but you're right. The markets have been down all week. I'm not worried, but certainly investors are based on what's going on.
Exactly. Now, this is not a new phenomenon this year. Am I correct in terms of the market being down? It just seems to be a recurring song or that needle in the 45 that's slightly going around the same nodule since it's been scratched.
Yeah, it's no doubt this is a soft market throughout the year by any measure. I mean, and that's simply a matter of extreme valuations and news that, whether correct or not, is interpreted perhaps negatively, whether it's oil going down, whether it's foreign issues, policy issues, whether it's interest rates, potential hikes. I mean, the market's kind of topped out, and it's looking soft, certainly.
And I want to ask you if this perchance might have something to do with a young lady at the Federal Reserve who is contemplating raising interest rates, maybe slightly, something like that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the investors do not want to hear that interest rates are going up, even though, in my opinion, what we're talking about is a pretty minuscule raise. And on top of that, I really think the Fed will counteract it by doing something else to increase the money supply. So I think they're, in some ways, unnecessarily worried. But on the other hand, the only person that's more worried than the market, I think, is the Federal Reserve. I think they're terrified. They know that the economy is weak. They don't want to raise rates. They've backed themselves into a corner with all these comments they've made over the last year. And they're going to have to do it, albeit very small, just because of what their statements they've been making.
Now, we're talking today with Chris Casey, Managing Director at Windrock Wealth Management. And I'm quite certain you're the kind of person who has to tell the investor that the economy is bad all the time, right? That's the job of economists, just to tell everyone that it's bad. You don't have any anecdotal or any evidence that the economy is bad. Obama's been doing a wonderful job.
Yeah, so if you just cherry pick some of the data, you can make an argument that we've actually had a so-called recovery. But in truth, not only have we had perhaps the weakest economy on record, not only by any measure is the unemployment rate not as low as we think, whether it's you're looking at household income, whether you're looking at actual employment numbers, etc. But on top of all of that, I really think the economy may be topping out right now. I mean, we have major trading partners, Canada, China, etc., experiencing economic either reductions in growth or actual negative growth. I mean, we have year-over-year money supply decreasing rate, which is a usually a leading indicator of a recession looming. And we also have various metrics of economic activity, such as gross output, that are pointing to a contraction going on right now. So I think we are kind of topping out right now.
You know, when you say we're topping out, I can turn in one of the CNBC guys or one of the Fox Business News guys, and they're telling me that, stock market is going gangbusters. I mean, you can't lose. Just pick one. Throw a dart at the wall, and you got yourself gold. Is that the type of advice that individuals should be depending on at this time frame in terms of the decisions that they have to make against the economy that we're facing?
Well, first of all, so you're the guy that's still watching CNBC because the ratings are down so much. I didn't realize that. But no, I mean, that's right. The only thing they do on TV is talk up the market because that's how they get ratings, right? No one wants to watch when things are going down. But they were saying the exact same thing before 2008, and pretty much the industry in general, whether it's the wealth managers, the money managers, it's the media, in the financial media, they're all trying to talk the market up because it's in everyone's interest. And they're really not concerned about losing clients' money. They're concerned about losing clients. So it's kind of the bottom line.
Now, in terms of the market itself, Winrock Wealth Management practices the Austrian tool of investment. And that is not some type of new sexy gimmick to get people to invest. Can you share with individuals why you're not worried about the downslope or the busting of this particular stock market?
Yeah, you mentioned we adhere to a particular economic school called the Austrian School of Economics. There's pretty much three main economic schools out there. And we use it because it helps us assess the markets properly, whether or not they're rich, what they should be doing going forward, etc. It helps us knowing what's going to happen as far as recession. It helps us knowing about inflation, and that helps us construct portfolios for clients. So, we are concerned about what we see out here. We try to help our clients navigate, any kind of downturns in the economy that are going to pop these bubbles that we see in the bond markets, the equity markets, etc. So I think it's just a healthy way to look at things, even if you're not an Austrian per se. It's just common sense. When things are super expensive, don't buy them.
Now, we're talking today with a good friend of mine, and even better in that store, Chris Casey from Winrock Wealth Management. He's the managing director there. When we come back from the break, I know some of you are looking at the same statistics that show that we are nearing a top or have even crossed under that particular top in the stock market. And you're beginning to say, wait a minute, what do I do from here? When we come back, I want to talk with Chris about booms and busts and how we prepare ourselves accordingly. Listen, we're coming to you live from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studio, WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia, and around the world on the internet with CPRworld.com, LeadingEdgeRadioNetwork.com, TalkStreamLive.com, ThePunditPress.com, SHRmedia.com, and AMFM247.com. Now you can listen to our show at any time on our website, www.ccrsnetwork.com, and the more simplistic one, www.ccrshow.com. We'll be back with more of Chris Casey and Winrock Wealth Management after this.
They say I'm messy, but
The Conservative Commandos radio show is expanding to become the Conservative Commandos Radio Network. We are establishing a front line of conservative radio broadcasters and ironclad patriots to declare war against the madness of liberalism and the Obama administration. Are you tired of the disregard for our Constitution? Do you still have faith in the American dream? Are you looking for sensible, smart radio? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network every weekday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on WNJC Radio, 1360 on your AM dial, or around the world on the internet at WNJCradio.com. Check out our website, CCRSnetwork.com, for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where now even more newsmakers go to be heard.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Biden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
From the East Coast to the West Coast and around the world on the Internet, we're coming to you live from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with your host, Rick Trader. The Conservative Commandos radio show, where the newsmakers go to be heard. You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando radio show.
If you would like to hear rebroadcast of today's show, please check out our website, www.conservativecommandosradioshow.com and www.ccrshow.com, or morning at 9 a.m. Log on to leadingedgeradionetwork.com. Now you can listen to the Conservative Commandos radio show at any time, any day, from any telephone by calling 832-999-1199. I'm the exceptional one, Kevin Clinton, co-hosting today with the great Kevin Wade. We have a tremendous guest with us today from the Windy City, none other than Chris Casey, and we're talking about how can you prosper when you have reached the top of the market and are looking towards the valley itself. Listen, there are many people who at this point are just buying because they've been told to buy, and don't want to sell because they don't want to lose the extra 5%, maybe 6% top that they would have in their investment. I want to ask you, can individuals actually avoid bust by only seeking out the boom?
Well, I think, it's everyone's natural inclination, right? They don't want to give up money. They don't want to sell too early. But in the types of market we're talking about, when you have an economy that's weak and looking potentially weaker, when you have these extremely high valuations we have, I think it's time that people just say, hey, I need to sell. There's no use. The classic example is picking up nickels in front of a steamroller. There's no reason to be doing that. Just get liquid, pay down debt, consolidate, and get out of expensive assets like the stock and bond market.
Yeah, but what happens if I sell my Coca-Cola share today at 98, and I look in the newspaper tomorrow and I had 102. The price mark is 102. No, it may fall to 79 in the coming months, but I lost $4. Do you understand? That's $4 there, man.
That is, honestly, everyone thinks like that. Everyone has that inclination that they don't want to sell. But, on the other hand, we should all know better. Unlike any other generation, we've experienced two horrific busts in the stock market over the last, 15 years. So more so than any other time in this country's history, investors should know, yes, this can happen, and yes, I should be able to see it coming, and I should get out of the way.
Investors should know that. and many of the institutional investors live by that theory. Listen, we're not in it for the full ride. We're in it for the profit, and we're out. But Mr. Joe, who's sitting at the kitchen table watching FNBC and CNBC and all the others, is thinking to himself, you know what, if I get out now, I'll regret it maybe a month from now. In terms of the bust, how horrific can bust be? And also, longitudinally, shouldn't we diversify over a time period and not worry about bust or booms in a marketplace?
Yeah, well, as far as, how bad can it get? I mean, we've seen this where things, 50% off is not unheard of. I mean, that's what we've experienced a couple times now. And here's what's really damaging. That may not sound too bad to the 25, 30-year-old professional who's got some money in the bank and has been in the stock and bond markets for a couple of years. But where that's devastating is for that retiree. That person is going to turn that nest egg into actual income for them over the next couple of years and pay their expenses because they'll never make it back. It's impossible. So it also depends where you are in the age, in your life cycle. As far as, Earth, they're not natural phenomena. There's a cause. It's not just coming out of who knows where. I mean, it's based on Federal Reserve policy. It's directly tied to what they're doing and have done ever since their founding. I mean, this is why we have a business cycle to begin with.
Now, in 2007, going into the 2008 election period, all the signs were there that we were reaching the top out. That it was a good time to leave the wrestling match called the stock market. And yet people go back in. Those same numbers are beginning to permeate in today's statistical analysis. Is it fundamentally important at this particular juncture for people to consider what Von Mises would consider, and that you need to be as limber as you possibly can in marketplaces, and also have a constant conversation with those who have reign or responsibility over your investment?
Oh, absolutely. And I guarantee the mainstream advisory business, the wealth managers that are out there, despite having experienced this, twice over the last 15 years, actually 3 times if you count the housing crisis, they still don't get it. And they just don't believe that they seem to ignore that this ever happened. They certainly don't believe you can see it coming. But, I mean, I think everyone needs to be aware of this and position accordingly. They need to get liquid. They need to pay down debt. They need to avoid markets that are overvalued. And they should diversify it. And that's just not between different kinds of asset classes, but geographically as well. Go start looking where things are cheap. And some things are cheap out there. It can be anything from silver. Commodities are certainly cheap, but I think they may get cheaper. But you just got to start looking at things that are not expensive at the very least.
Yeah, I when I turn on the news at night, I see this guy named William Devane, and he's taking key shots and showing how badly he can take key shots and how you need to really be straight and disciplined when you do it. But he's talking about gold, and you mentioned silver. A lot of people were pushing gold 3 or 4 years ago, saying that this was the next big thing, that you need to have your investment in gold. What is the proper amount of in the commodities, and when should you get into commodities like and unto gold and silver?
Yeah, you're right. Well, everyone, the mainstream financial press and advisors are always late to the game. So yeah, they're pushing gold probably right at the end of 11 when it really topped out. I mean, they're always late. When they should have been pushing it was back in 2001, 2002, when you could have got it for less than $300 an ounce, and then it saw just a dramatically consistent rise throughout the next decade. How much should you own? That really depends on your life cycle, depends on your tolerance. It varies. I can tell you that our clients, they have a significant portion of money in precious metals. It could be anywhere from as low as maybe 5% upwards of 30 or even higher. It really depends on people's risk tolerances and what they're comfortable with.
Excellent.
Chris, this is Kevin Wade. Quick question, a little bit off topic. How safe is a money market? If my wife and I wanted to pull our $12 of savings or of retirement money out of the stock market and move it into a money market as a safe harbor, how safe is a money market?
No, it's a good question. We saw this back in the aftermath of the 2008 recession, where not just money markets but other financial instruments were really being tested. I don't think they're perfectly safe, although they're considered rock solid. It's just like someone considering money in a bank that's supposedly insured by the FDIC as rock solid. I think anyone with sizable amounts of money and is looking to place it somewhere really needs to look at the institution they have it with. They need to look at that custodian. They need to look at the vehicle and the terms that they're in. And they need to diversify across multiple institutions, multiple jurisdictions as much as possible. So to answer your question, it's not perfectly safe, and I'd really look into it, especially if you have sizable funds within it.
Chris, when we're on the air, we can talk about all the things that people shouldn't do, but many people are concerned about the things that they should do. And number one, we established the fact you should be talking with the person who's handling your investment. But should you also get an analysis of how well someone's performing, and exactly how can someone get in contact with you if they have a largesse and would like to invest it?
Yeah, we're always happy to talk to people. I mean, regardless whether or not they actually would be able to be a client, whether or not net worth. We're always happy to speak to people and just give them our thoughts. The easiest way to contact us at Windrock is just go to our website, www.windrockwealth.com. I mean, they can find all of our contact information on there, and just feel free to email us. We're always happy to have those conversations. At the very least, if whether or not someone does anything with it, they'll have a different perspective, and it'll make them think.
Now, we turned off the radio. This is just between you, me, and Kevin. No one else is listening. Give us a tip. What should we put on? What's the next big thing?
I really think it's because of what's happened over in commodity markets, and because of what's happened with people. They're so unafraid of any kind of future inflation. I'm becoming increasingly impressed that silver is a really nice investment for a long term, especially anyone that's a miner of silver is, I think, a great investment going forward.
Awesome. How can they get in contact with you again to catch that and to consider their options for the future?
Sure, and we have a ton of content on our website that I encourage people to read to become more familiar with our philosophy and our perspective. But we're at Windrock is www.windrockwealth.com, and all of our contact information is there.
Awesome. Chris Casey, Managing Director at Windrock Wealth Management, just a wonderful human being. And you can get in contact with him at the office at 312-650-9602. You want to contact him directly. We want to thank you so much for coming on the air with us and keeping us abreast of what's going on in the financial world.
Yeah, thank you both.
We're coming to you live from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network Studios, WNJC 1360 AM, our flagship station in Philadelphia, and around the world on the Internet with CPR Worldwide Media, Leading Edge Radio Network, TalkStream Live, The Pundit Press, SHR Media, K98 Talk, and AM FM 24/7. They all end in .com. And you can listen to our show at any time on our websites, ccrsnetwork.com and ccrshow.com. You stay with us. We have Joe Klein coming up next. We'll be right back.
I'm crazy. I really don't care. That's my prerogative. They say I'm nasty, but
You've heard Paul Delks playing the music on the Your Music Matters morning show. He is also an experienced mortgage loan officer working for U.S. Mortgage Corporation and assists homeowners navigate the process. If you are finding yourself asking questions whether or not you set aside enough for retirement, Paul can sit down with you, your family, and your financial advisor and discuss how a reverse mortgage may be a valuable resource for your retirement plan. You will be responsible for paying your taxes and insurance, and the reverse mortgage can help with this and other expenses, such as home health care or other untimely bills. Put Paul's 20-plus years of experience to work for you, as choosing the right option for your situation can be critical. Call Paul at U.S. Mortgage Corporation at 877-213-9977. That's 877-213-9977. 1-877-213-9977 or go to seniormatters.info for more information. U.S. Mortgage Corporation is a licensed mortgage banker in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, and an equal housing lender. NMLS number 3901. U.S. Mortgage Corporation is located at 201 Old Country Road, Suite 140, Melville, New York, 11747. This advertisement applies to first lien mortgages. Paul E. Dilks, NMLS is 485904.
Hi, this is Bob Viden, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Viden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
What does it take to be the leader in production systems technology? To be the one company that solves production problems at any plant, for any product, and with any technology? It takes a 30-year record of success. It takes total mastery of complex technologies with a history of delivering success every time, without fail. Only one company can claim that high ground in manufacturing line optimization, data automation, and systems integration, and that's Philadelphia Control Systems. In factories worldwide, Philadelphia Control Systems programs, software, and engineering solutions deliver optimal performance and output flow with a record that can't be matched. Any plant, any product, any technology. Philadelphia Control Systems, the leader in production automation since 1982. 800-335-9811. PCS for Auto.com. That's PCS, the number 4, automation.com.
The Conservative Commandos radio show is expanding to become the Conservative Commandos radio network. We're establishing a front line of conservative radio broadcasters and ironclad patriots to declare war against the madness of liberalism and the Obama administration. Are you tired as I am about the disregard for our Constitution? Do you still have faith in the American dream? Are you looking for sensible, smart radio? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos radio network every weekday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on WNJC Radio 1360 a.m. or around the world on the internet at WNJCradio.com. Check out our websites, ConservativeCommandosRadioNetwork.com and CCRN.com for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where even more newsmakers go to be heard. From the East Coast to the West Coast and around the world on the internet, we're coming to you live from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with your host, Rick Trader. The Conservative Commandos radio show, where the newsmakers go to be heard. You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
You are listening to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network. I'm Kevin Wade. I'm supposed to be here on Mondays, but I'm filling in for our show's inspirational leader and founder, Rick Trader, and I have the great honor to share the microphone with my very, very good friend, Ken McClinton. That was a great guest we had on in the first segment, Ken.
That was a tremendous guest, and when we're working with the seasons that we're in, where there's economic hardship and false data, you need people who are going to be honest with you about both and help you make decisions with your investment.
Well, Ken, you gave me a great segue into our next segment. Our next guest, Joseph Klein, has a piece out, and I'll call it entitled Obama Defends Iran Deal with Falsehoods and Slurs. And if there was ever a point in our history where we needed the plain, unvarnished, and sometimes harsh truth, it's now. And with that, let me invite our next guest to join us, Joseph Klein. Welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Well, thank you for having me.
You have a piece on frontpagemag.com. Obama defends Iran deal falsehoods and slurs. Walk us through that.
Well, the other day, President Obama appeared at American University and delivered a long speech defending his disastrous nuclear deal with Iran. But instead of trying to deal with the subject in an intellectually honest manner and at least showing respect for the good faith of those who object to points in this deal, he followed two parallel tracks. First, he lied over and over again and misrepresented the terms of the deal. And I'll just give you a couple of examples. And second, he tried to demonize the opponents of the deal, lumping them all together as if they were, in his words, in common cause, close quote, with the hardliners in Iran, and accusing the opponents of engaging in the same type of arguments as those who advocated going to war in Iraq and being warmongers. This was a slanderous insult rather than trying to advance an honest discussion of a momentous policy decision. But as to his lies, first of all, he started out by representing that his deal prevented Iran permanently from ever obtaining nuclear weapons. This is completely false. He himself admitted back in April in an interview on NPR that within 13 years, Iran would have the ability to operate enough advanced centrifuges to produce enriched uranium in sufficient amounts to have what's called no breakout time, or virtually no breakout time. And that means that Iran would be able to produce enough enriched uranium to produce nuclear bombs without virtually any delay at all. So he himself had admitted that several months ago, and now he's just trying to cover his tracks and say, well, no, they're permanently prevented from any pathway to getting a bomb. Secondly, he omitted to mention that in a last-minute concession, he agreed to Iran's demand that the UN embargo on both conventional weapons and on their purchase or development of ballistic missiles, including missiles designed for delivery of nuclear weapons, that those embargoes be lifted. The missile embargo in no more than 8 years, the conventional arms embargo in 5 years. So how can Obama stand there and say with a straight face that the deal will prevent Iran from ever obtaining any nuclear weapon when explicitly they're going to be freed of the current restriction to be able to obtain or develop a missile, including an ICBM, reach the United States, designed for delivery of nuclear weapons? So that's an example of an outright lie. Then he talks about the verification, inspection mechanism as if it were foolproof, most comprehensive, he said, ever devised. And he gives short shrift to the fact that even he had to acknowledge that for those sites that are identified by international inspectors but that had not been declared by Iran, but which are suspected of harboring nuclear-related activities, Iran could delay any inspections for as much as 24 days or even more. They can manipulate the process even before the formal dispute resolution mechanisms kick in.
Mr. Klein, Mr. Klein, I want to ask you right here on that particular matter of the site, because we can trust the Republic of Iran. We can believe them. They are willing to show us all of the sites at any time, and we should just, as they have gone to the Security Council and had it approved. Quite frankly, why would they lie to us about not taking a look at their site?
Well, like they say here in New York City, I have a bridge to sell you, the Brooklyn Bridge. Iran is a serial cheater, and they're already violating existing embargoes on arms and other things, and they have every incentive where they think they can get away with it, where there's no traces of radioactivity, for example, in developing trigger devices and stuff like that, to do what they can covertly underground, and then just cart them away to maybe another underground site through the tunnels that they're very adept at creating. I think it was probably the Iranians who taught Hamas how to dig those sophisticated tunnels in Gaza. So they can't be trusted. But again, even if they do comply with everything, you're still back at which is that after 12, 13 years, the deal itself legitimates their ability to become a threshold nuclear power, with missiles already in their hands years before that. So, he just glides over all of that, and then goes into his ranting in that speech at American University about how this mindset that got us into the war in Iraq, that led to ISIS and so forth, is the same mindset of those who oppose his deal. Well, first of all, if Obama hadn't withdrawn all of the American troops against the advice of his military commanders on the ground in 2011, there wouldn't have been any ISIS. And then if he had acted once ISIS began to emerge in Syria and northern Iraq, rather than call them a JV team, if he had acted forcefully at the time, they wouldn't have expanded into a state or a territory as large as Indiana today. The notion that it was the original decision to go into Iraq, whatever you want to say about it now, in hindsight, that created ISIS, and then he's using that to link up to why we should have to be of a different mindset and accept his deal with Iran. I mean, it just falls on its face. Bush handed Obama a stable Iraq. The Bush surge defeated Al-Qaeda, from which ISIS later emerged after Obama withdrew all the troops in 2011. And that's not me saying this. Joe Biden in 2010 said Iraq was so stable, he was trying to take credit for the Obama administration for the stability there.
Joe, this is Kevin Wade. You were on track until you referenced Joe Biden as an authoritative voice, but
well, I'm not registering him as an authoritative voice. I'm just saying that I think Obama, before he makes rash statements, ought to look back and see what his own vice president, who he sent over to Iraq multiple times, was saying.
Okay.
They can't have it both ways. Take credit for the stability of Iraq in 2010 and then say, well, it was a total mess because of Bush.
Can you give any interpretation to why President Obama would, one, put together this deal and then come back and try to sell it in this way to the American people?
He's desperate for a legacy, and I think that's what he sees his legacy as ending two wars in the Middle East, and the one war, Iraq in the Middle East, and then also the war in Afghanistan, and forging this deal with Iran, which he thinks is transformative, and it won't unravel probably before he leaves office. It could be 5-10 years before we see the lethal consequences of what he's done. In the meantime, he hopes he's going to get some good write-ups for his presidency, and this would be along with Obamacare in his mind, his biggest achievements.
Well, apparently he never read any American history books that show that an American president is supposed to leave a legacy of security and prosperity. Joe, we're going into break for about 2 minutes. Would you stay with us so we can continue this conversation?
Sure.
Thank you very much. We're coming to you live from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios, WNJC 1360 AM, our flagship station in Philadelphia and around the world on the Internet. With CPR Worldwide Media, Leading Edge Radio Network, TalkStream Live, The Pundit Press, SHR Media, K98 Talk, and AM/FM 24/7. They all end in .com. And you can listen to our show at any time on our websites, ccrsnetwork.com and ccrshow.com. I'm Kevin Wade. I'm joined by Ken McClinton. And we have Joe Klein on the phone. You stay with us. He's staying with us. We will be right back.
They say I'm nasty, but
The Conservative Commandos radio show is expanding to become the Conservative Commandos Radio Network. We are establishing a front line of conservative radio broadcasters and ironclad patriots to declare war against the madness of liberalism and the Obama administration. Are you tired of the disregard for our Constitution? Do you still have faith in the American dream? Are you looking for sensible, smart radio? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network every weekday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on WNJC Radio, 1360 on your AM dial, or around the world on the Internet at WNJCradio.com. Check out our website, ccrsnetwork.com, for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where now even more newsmakers go to be heard.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, Workshop in Glasper, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Biden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
From the East Coast to the West Coast and around the world on the Internet, we're coming to you live from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with your host, Rick Trader. The Conservative Commandos radio show, where the newsmakers go to be heard. You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
If you would like to hear rebroadcast of today's show, please check out our website, www.conservativecommandosradioshow.com and www.ccrshow.com. Or mornings at 9 a.m., log on to the leadingedgeradionetwork.com. Now you can listen to the Conservative Commandos radio show at any time, any day, from any telephone by calling 832-999-1199. We are blessed this particular day to have a conversation with not only a Harvard-trained lawyer, but also the author of Global Deception, the UN's Death Assault on America's Freedom, and Lethal Engagement, Barack Hussein Obama, the United Nations and Radical Islam. We're talking about Obama's defense of the Iranian deal. He's doing that with falsehoods and slurs. And Joe Klein is the guest for this particular hour. I want to ask you, sir, don't you understand that we were just a few minutes away from pressing the button and bombing Iran? We were about to go to war with Iran. If this thing had failed, if John Kerry could not get this deal, we would be on our way to fight Iran. Isn't that right, sir?
Well, I guess, again, they're not looking at the fact that Iran has been at war with us since 1979. You know, they seized 52 hostages, held them for 444 days until the real president, Ronald Reagan, came into office. And then they were behind the bombing of the Marine barracks, killing, I think, more than a couple of hundred Marines in Lebanon. They used a proxy, a terrorist proxy, Islamic Jihad, to abduct and then torture a CIA officer who died in captivity. And they devised these sophisticated improvised explosive devices, IEDs, that were used in Iraq against our troops and caused multiple American soldier fatalities and casualties. And they're still holding 3 hostages today, American hostages. A 4th is unaccounted for. Among those 3 is a journalist and a pastor. Iran didn't release them as part of the deal, and the administration didn't insist on it because they thought it was unrelated. It's just it's a travesty, the whole thing. I don't know how John Kerry can look at himself in the mirror, except that I guess he admires his own face and hairdo, but that's about it.
Joe, this is Kevin Wade again. What's your sense of the nation's temperament toward this deal? We see that Senator Schumer yesterday came out publicly in opposition. How do you see this thing stacking up over the next few weeks as Congress is in their August recess and hearing from the folks back home?
Well, I think you're going to see some of the town hall meetings that could get contentious in certain districts, maybe not to the level of intensity they did with Obamacare a number of years ago, but I think you're going to see some of that. I think the American public right now, from what I understand, by a pretty large margin, opposes the deal. But, you know, the president has this bully pulpit, and he's trying to make this into an issue of either his way or it's war. Again, as I said, well, we've been at a low-level war with Iran since 1979, and they don't have any intent on stopping it, and they keep yelling death to America in the streets, and of course they talk about annihilating Israel almost every day. But Senator Schumer did come out, as you said, last night in opposition to the deal. I read his statement. It's well-reasoned. The problem I have, though, is that I think you're not going to see him be a very strong public advocate to rallying other senators and representatives in the House in opposition to the deal. And the reason I say that is not only because he himself declared that this would be a vote that would really be each member's own decision conclusion, and he was not going to really pressure anyone, but I look at the junior senator from New York, Kirsten Gillibrand, whom really Schumer effectively placed into office. He was the one who endorsed her appointment to fill Hillary Clinton's seat when Hillary Clinton became Secretary of State, and then he endorsed her for the special election. The two of them have voted together in this current congressional session 98% of the time. Yet this one time, which Schumer has said is a momentous vote, Gillibrand decided that she was going to go her own way, and before Schumer even came up with his announcement in opposition to the deal, she said she was supporting the deal. Now, that shows me that Schumer, you know, yes, he's opposing it. He's going to register his vote in opposition. Hopefully, he will vote to override the sure veto by Obama if the resolution in opposition passes. hopefully Schumer will join the vote overriding it. He won't support a filibuster, which the Democratic leadership in the Senate is planning. So hopefully that will be the case. But it just doesn't seem that he's going to really go all out in really trying to publicly rally opposition to the deal. Nor is he, he in his statement, he praised Obama for all of his efforts in getting this deal done and containing Iran and so forth. Now, my question is, since Schumer's now opposed to the deal, is he one of those who are making common cause with the hardliners that Obama charged the Republican caucus with the other day in his speech? Is he a warmonger, as Obama is implying? And today, this left-wing MoveOn.org, which Obama personally appealed to mount, a campaign against the opponents of the deal, MoveOn.org issued just today a very, very strident denunciation and personal diatribe against Schumer.
Oh, really?
Starting with the warmongers, and they're calling for a boycott or a strike, what they call a donor strike, against those who, as they put it, want to go to war rather than accept Obama's deal. And they're lumping Schumer in with the Republican warmongers. That's their words, the warmongers. So, is Schumer going to ask Obama to publicly disassociate himself from this scandalous diatribe, attacking the personal motives of the senator from New York? I think that we'll have to see what Schumer actually does, but at least it's a step in the right direction.
Joe, can you tell us where to follow your musings and your writings so that our listeners can stay current with you?
I write for 2 online publications. I'm the UN correspondent for Canada Free Press, which is online every day, and I go to the UN and attend briefings, press briefings, and meetings, and cover certain issues there, particularly in the Middle East, the Israel-Palestinian conflict, so forth, and Iran. I pretty regularly for Front Page Magazine, which is another online publication of the David Horowitz Freedom Center. My 2 books you mentioned, Global Deception, the UN Stealth Assault on America's Freedom, and the more recent book, Lethal Engagement, Barack Hussein Obama, the United Nations, and Radical Islam, both on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com, both to be ordered through your listeners' local bookstores. And the title, Lethal Engagement, is so apt in what Obama has been doing, engaging our enemies, particularly Iran, with lethal consequences, and then throwing our allies like Israel under the bus.
And Joe, in our final 30 seconds, what's your crystal ball forecast as to whether or not the House and the Senate can override the president's expected veto?
No, I don't think they're going to be able to do so. What I am hoping is that at least you'll get majorities, bipartisan majorities in both the House and Senate for a resolution of disapproval, forcing Obama to veto it. But I think when push comes to shove, I don't think there's going to be enough votes there to override the veto in both houses.
Joe Klein, thank you so much for being with us.
Okay, thank you.
You are listening to the Conservative Commandos radio show. We do bring you the topic of guests when the issue is hot, and there is none hotter than this bogus Iranian nuclear deal. I'm Kevin Wade, happy to be with my very good friend Ken McClinton. And if you'd like to hear us, tune into CPRWorldwideMedia.com, Leading Edge Radio Network, TalkStream Live, The Pundit Press, SHR Media, K98 Talk, AM, FM 24/7, and they all end in .com. And you can listen to our show at any time on our website, CCRS Network and CCRShow.com. Stay with us. We're coming up in the last half hour of the show today before we put it in the can. I'm Kevin Wade, joined by Ken McClinton. You stay with us. We will be right back.
You've
heard Paul Dilks playing the music on the Your Music Matters morning show. He is also an experienced mortgage loan officer working for U.S. Mortgage Corporation and assists homeowners navigate the reverse mortgage process. If you are finding yourself asking questions whether or not you set aside enough for retirement, Paul can sit down with you, your family, and your financial advisor and discuss how a reverse mortgage may be a valuable resource for your retirement plan. You will be responsible for paying your taxes and insurance, and the reverse mortgage can help with this and other expenses, such as home health care or other untimely bills. Put Paul's 20-plus years of experience to work for you, as choosing the right option for your situation can be critical. Call Paul at U.S. Mortgage Corporation at 877-213-9977. That's 877-213-9977. Or go to seniormatters.info for more information. U.S. Mortgage Corporation is a licensed mortgage banker in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, and an equal housing lender. NMLS number 3901. U.S. Mortgage Corporation is located at 201 Old Country Road, Suite 140, Melville, New York, 11747. This advertisement applies to first lien mortgages. Paul E. Dilks, NMLS is 485904.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Biden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
What does it take to be the leader in production systems technology? To be the one company that solves production problems at any plant, for any product, and with any technology? It takes a 30-year record of success. It takes total mastery of complex technologies with a history of delivering success every time, without fail. Only one company can claim that high ground in manufacturing line optimization, data automation, and systems integration, and that's Philadelphia Control Systems. In factories worldwide, Philadelphia Control Systems programs, software, and engineering solutions deliver optimal performance and output flow with a record that can't be matched. Any plant, any product, any technology. Philadelphia Control Systems, the leader in production automation since 1982. 800-335-9811. PCS4automation.com. That's PCS, the number 4, automation.com.
The Conservative Commandos radio show is expanding to become the Conservative Commandos radio network. We're establishing a front line of conservative radio broadcasters and ironclad patriots to declare war against the madness of liberalism and the Obama administration. Are you tired, as I am, about the disregard for our Constitution? Do you have faith in the American dream? Are you looking for sensible, smart radio? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network every weekday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on WNJC Radio 1360 a.m. or around the world on the internet at WNJCradio.com. Check out our websites, ConservativeCommandosRadioNetwork.com and CCRN.com for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where even more newsmakers go to be heard. From the East Coast to the West Coast and around the world on the internet, we're coming to you live from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with your host, Rick Trader. The Conservative Commandos radio show, where the newsmakers go to be heard. You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
He is Colonel Alan West, but he's wrong. You're now listening not to the Conservative Commandos radio show, but to the Conservative Commandos radio network. If you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of today's show, please check out our website, ccrsnetwork.com, ccrshow.com, or mornings at 9 a.m. log on to leadingedgeradionetwork.com. And you can listen to the Conservative Commandos radio network at any time on any phone on the planet. Imagine that, any phone on the planet, by calling 832-999-1199. I'm Kevin Wade. I'm filling in for our show's inspirational leader, Rick Trader, but geez, I'll tell you, I have the great honor of sharing the microphone with my very, very good friend, a man I admire so very much. That is Ken McClinton. Ken, we've had a great show so far today.
Yeah, it is a tremendous show, and as we began it talking about last night's debate, I have well over 1 billion served in watching that debate. We bring with us a common standby for our program, seemingly on Friday, Dr. Gerard Romero. He's a philosopher, an author, economist, an engineer, an author of great magnitude, and a man of this particular season with great insights about politics. Without further ado, we want to introduce some, present to others, the great Dr. Romero.
Hi, how you doing?
Just fine. It is great having you back.
It's great to be back with you. Always a pleasure.
Listen, Dr. Romero, you had a time period where you worked with Miss Carly Fiorina.
I did.
Yeah. Were you impressed the way the rest of the world was impressed with Carly Fiorina yesterday?
Yes. Actually, I was surprised that it would be so lopsided in what I call the runner-up debate. You know, Lindsey Graham called it the happy hour debate at 5 p.m. Eastern. And, yeah, that's a good name for it, I guess. But, you know, of that particular debate, hands down, she was the most presidential. She sounded the best. She sounded articulate, well-organized. She was able to speak. You know, her 30-second ending, I thought, was probably one of the best, probably one of the either the best or the second best of all the 17 candidates for summing up our situation. You know, she said, and I paraphrase, obviously, she said, you know, this election is about conservative values versus progressive folks who want to take our country in a different direction and change our institutions. And boy, is she exactly right. It's a constitutional battle. Are we going to constitution and the rule of law, or are we going to convert America into some sort of socialist country? And she knows it. She would make a great candidate.
I know. You know, a lot of people are focusing the attention today on the sideshow of Donald Trump versus Megyn Kelly, and that really is an afterthought. It's a never mind. The true story is that the happy hour debate, while it wasn't viewed as by as many as the late night event, shown the great star on the rise in the Republican Party being Carly Fiorina. And in fact, the question is, why did she end up in the JV section and Rand Paul was in the top, the late night group? It seems, you know, counterintuitive. It should have been the other way around.
Well, you know, what they did was they took 5 national polls, recent national polls. They had certain requirements of each of those polls. And, for example, they ruled out the Wall Street Journal NBC poll because the poll didn't specifically mention each name in the poll. They just sort of threw it out and see who people answered, you know. But at any rate, you know, unfortunately for Carly, with all these 17 folks running, you know, they got split, and she got her, you know, plus or minus 1%, and that just wasn't enough to get into the top 10. Rand Paul, who's been running for years and years, in essence, plus his father was running for years and years, he just had better name recognition, and he went into the top 10 debate. and Carly just hasn't been running that long and wasn't as well known, and she's going to be better known now because of that 7. I basically called it that she won that, and the other 6 lost it. I mean, I don't think any of them looked as good as she did, and so that debate, I have a feeling those other 6 are going to be sort of not doing as well.
I would go as far as say not only did she beat that grouping, but she knocked out Rand Paul and possibly Chris Christie on the back end there, because those two did not do as nice as most people thought they would.
You're right. And I think Rand Paul sort of didn't look as presidential, and neither did Chris Christie. Just the way they behaved was not very presidential, dignified, smart. Rand Paul, attacking others the way he did. He wasn't supposed to speak at some of those times. I mean, at least what they should do is follow the rules. And, they agreed to a certain set of rules. They shouldn't be jumping out of line and, saying the things they did. And so I think that, and then Chris Christie, talking about, the other one speaking in smoke-filled Senate rooms, that's kind of hitting below the belt, I think. I don't think that's very presidential.
We're talking with Dr. Lamero, who we love coming on the program to talk about the election 2016. And I know that you have a varied number of questions, but I want to give a question that a lot of people are not asking but should ask, I believe, is did Jeb Bush purposely fly under the radar screen last night?
Well, I think Jeb Bush is just not showing any type of presidential demeanor. He just looks like somebody that's kind of half-hearted into this race. I don't know if he feels like it's his obligation as a family member of the Bush family to run, if he feels it's an obligation to the country to run, but he just doesn't, to me, seem to have his heart into it. I listened to the 2-hour New Hampshire forum on Monday night, and he just had a hard time speaking. He did speak much better last night, but once again, no enthusiasm, very little energy for the thing. I also was slightly shocked about that foundation that he's on the board of directors. He said he didn't know they donated money, that kind of thing. I guess it was to Planned Parenthood. Let me tell you, if you're on the board of directors, your responsibility is to know what's going on, and you need to know where the money's going. And if you just say, well, I was a member of the board of directors, and we just passed the budget, but I didn't know what was in the budget, give me a break. What kind of president doesn't know what's in the budget? I mean, I don't know. It's kind of funny. He just doesn't seem on top of things.
He sounds very Obama-esque in that particular. You have to pass the bill to find out what's in it.
Right.
I want to ask you, who was the real winner last night?
First, I picked four.
If you divide
four winners.
Okay, great.
You'll hear all 4 of them. I picked what I decided were the winners in the sense that they were like the top group overall. Number 1, I think Trump still looked good because I think he showed that he's not going to be pushed around and he's not going to make any commitments about a third party, which I didn't think he needed to. I think that was just one of those questions they did to try to dump Trump, and I don't think they dumped Trump. And I think the smartest and the best, most articulate conservative who knew the issues cold was Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz looked sharp, looked smart, looked conservative. He's a solid guy. I think Marco Rubio did better than I expected in explaining himself. I think a lot of conservatives are concerned about his prior amnesty and working with Chuck Schumer and things like that, so they're a little hesitant about Marco Rubio, but he sounded good, he looked good, he has a nice presidential look. And I think that would go a long way for people who don't study the issues, but vote on a friendly face that sort of says nice things. And then finally, I think the 4th winner was Carly Fiorina. She looked good enough to be president.
Yes, she was. Ladies and gentlemen, we're listening today to our wonderful Election 2016 guest, Dr. Lamiro, and I am just blessed this evening to have an opportunity to co-host with my great friend Kevin Wade. We're so glad you tuned to us and listening. We're coming to you live from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios, WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia, and around the world on the internet with CBRWorldwideMedia.com, LeadingEdgeRadioNetwork.com, TalkStreamLive.com, ThePunditPress.com, SHRmedia.com, and AMFM247.com. Now you can listen to our show at any time on our website, www.ccrsnetwork.com and www.ccrshow.com. We'll be back with more talk about election 2016 and the great debate.
That's my prerogative. They say I'm messy, but I...
The Conservative Commandos radio show is expanding to become the Conservative Commandos Radio Network. We are establishing a front line of conservative radio broadcasters and ironclad patriots to declare war against the madness of liberalism and the Obama administration. Are you tired of the disregard for our Constitution? Do you still have faith in the American dream? Are you looking for sensible, smart radio? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network every weekday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on WNJC Radio, 1360 on your AM dial, or around the world on the internet at WNJCradio.com. Check out our website, CCRSnetwork.com, for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where now even more newsmakers go to be heard.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Biden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
From the East Coast to the West Coast and around the world on the internet, we're coming to you live from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with your host, Rick Trader. The Conservative Commandos radio show, where the newsmakers go to be heard. You can call Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
If you would like to hear rebroadcasts of today's show, please check out our website, www.conservativecommandosradioshow.com and www.ccrshow.com. On mornings at 9 a.m., log on to the LeadingEdgeRadioNetwork.com. Now you can listen to the Conservative Commandos radio show at any time, any day, from any telephone by calling 832-999-1199. I am tremendously blessed this particular day with co-hosting with my very good friend from the wonderful state of Delaware, Kevin Wade. And I have a wonderful guest on with us as well, Dr. Lamiro, who's joining us normally on an every so often basis as we talk about election 2016. We've been talking about the ferocious Carly Fiorina and how she virtually dominated the entire night. And her appearance on MSNBC didn't hurt her either. I want to talk with you, Dr. Lamero, about who got the best line out of the entire debate.
Well, there are actually quite a few good lines. I think one of the ones that struck a lot of people as really funny was Ben Carson's summary there at the end, where he talked about how he's the only one who split up Siamese twins, and he's the only one that that has taken a half of a brain out of a mind. But he said, if you go to Washington, it looks like somebody beat me to it.
That was wonderful. That was absolutely wonderful.
So he's a pretty sharp guy.
Yes, he is. He's brilliant. Now, according to Snap polls, he actually is the one that most Americans believe won the debate. And that's amazing because he didn't appear, at least listening to the talking heads there, to be on even the top 4 lists. How is it that Americans are reacting to Ben Carson under the radar screen?
Well, the reason is this is not a regular election like we have every 4 years. This is a very special election. By the way, I'm writing a new book about the 2016 election that's supposed to be out in January, which you're going to love, and that we'll talk about hopefully on your show in January. But in that book, I talk about the fact that this is not a conventional election like usual. It's not business as usual. Every so often, the electorate gets very angry at the parties, and sometimes they totally change the parties, and they think differently, and they act differently, but you know what? They control the country, and when the people get mad, they turn out in big numbers, and they elect people that you might not suspect. And they usually do it over moral issues or freedom issues, and this year, both are in play. Right now, they're looking for a candidate who's honest, who's going to tell the truth, who has character. And that's the reason Ben Carson has done well, because they know he's a neurosurgeon. He's not playing games. He's just a serious man. He's got a heart that's serious. He's got a heart for freedom. And they like that. They believe him. And they find him trustworthy. And that's why he's doing as well as he's done. And about this critical election that we're coming up on, the issues are going to be morality and they're going to be freedom. And you watch, this is going to be a special election in terms of the turnout and the number of conservatives who come out to set this country on the right course, because we are going off the cliff economically, in terms of global security, our own security. You name it, we've got problems up the wing-wang, and we need to get them fixed.
Exactly. And, last night was a good night for conservatism because there was an opportunity to broadcast around the world. And I was at an apostolic conference in Washington, D.C., and while they were also talking about God, which they talked a lot about last night, they were talking about the Republican convention and how the debate was so vivid. And this is among a large number of African Americans who are listening. Was that debate the right format to reach out across the lines of demarcation of gender, sex, and everything else in America?
Sure. It was a good forum. It had the largest viewership of any primary type debate in the history of television. I think it was 27 million viewers in the U.S., which is pretty phenomenal for any TV show. I think it's the most Fox ever had for anything. And so that's quite a thing. Unfortunately, these moderators acted a little silly. They were kind of laughing, and I think they should take it a lot more seriously because, after all, we've got serious problems, and we should focus on those. And they were playing the gotcha politics of the past, something like CNN or MSNBC would do, like, oh, you said this and you said that, and What they should be talking about, what are you going to do to protect this country? How are you going to close the border? Are you going to get rid of Obamacare on day one or day two? You know, they should be talking about issues. And that's what I would have liked to see more than the things they talked about. But nevertheless, our conservatives, and I talk about all of them as being some form of conservative, they were out there trying to make points in between a lot of stupid questions.
Exactly. But the great thing is there was no boxer or brief question or pizza question. Which may be, but Dr. Lamero, how can people read your blog and get the information they need in preparation for your great book coming out in January?
Well, and actually the blog is keeping people up to date on a lot of things. It's GerardLamero.com, which is GERARD, Lamero, LAM as in Massachusetts, EIRO.com. And that will get you to my website, and there's a lot of good information, free information on freedom. The Pledge of Freedom is on there. The 10 Laws for Winning Presidential Elections is on there, which I wrote about 20 years ago. And I'm glad to see some of the candidates are using some of those things, because they sound like they are.
And it sounds like Carly Fiorina is using all your stuff.
Well, I don't know about that. She's a smart lady.
She is. She's a brilliant lady. Thank you so much for coming on the air with us tonight, or this afternoon. Forgive me. I'm so used to doing night shows. But thank you so much for being a part of the Conservative Commando Friday close for the week. Also, Kevin Wade, it's just been a tremendous pleasure and an honor. It's always an honor to have you sit in the chair of the benevolent dictator, Rick Trader. Although it's much too big for you, nevertheless, you look very comfortable in it.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you so much.
It's good to be with you, and you drew in a great job with your network, so that's terrific.
Thank you.
With that, Ken, it's a pleasure. As always, I look forward to the next occasion. I'd like to see you come to the first state and speak to some friends in September. Put that in your notebook. And
I will.
You want to make your quick goodbyes, and then I'll do the final wrap?
Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in this afternoon. Tomorrow at 5 p.m., New Day Black and Red, the Underground Professor, Dr. Michael Jones, and I will be talking about the progressive tax code from a biblical as well as constitutional point of view. You will find on both sides that the progressives fail again.
And with that, good afternoon. Have a great weekend. And, well, may God save the United States of America.
WNJC, Washington Township, Philadelphia. Philadelphia's Renaissance radio station. Brought to you from Forsyth Broadcasting. Or listen to us at WNJCradio.com.
The leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.